There's nothing stopping me from carrying on with that Morrowind machinima that I made, but I'm obviously not going to, because that moment has passed. It's a relic from a bygone era. Watching it back, I still remember the excitement and ambitious dreams I had for it at the time, how I'd scout out potential filming spots in-game, and how I'd feel very important as I set everything up in preparation for the next take. I'd hype it up to my friends and family as though it would be the video that would change the world forever. In a way, it did, because I'm still here making videos, aren't I? That Morrowind project was driven by enthusiasm, and so inevitably when that motivation ran dry and I had to lower my expectations for what it would become, I gave up and I moved on. I use that first video project of mine as an obvious example of a project from a time that's been and gone. Although looking through my channels, at more recent videos and series, I'm seeing them going the same way. Even in just a few short years, their time can pass, never to be seen again. Going low in CSGO was a product of its time, back when people played games for fun, but now in this far more competitive age, it's seen as something offensive. I've even had to take down some of the episodes from the backlash they've started receiving, years after release. But my only regret with any of these old projects was not making more of them at the time. The Cubicle Brothers has a Splinter Cell playthrough, where I narrated over each and every level in that game, apart from the very last one. For some reason I gave up. Nobody watched that series, it wasn't very good, there's absolutely no way I'd make something like it now, but it being unfinished still hangs over me like a cloud. A very small, far-off wispy cloud perhaps, but it's there nonetheless. I used to like the idea of making a load of videos in advance and scheduling episodes to be released years or even decades out into the future. I used to fear that it would be the video quality that would age soonest and the most, but now I feel it's the content itself that would age far worse, having been made in a time that would appreciate it being released a lot more, and that would be kinder to it than whatever future audience may be. Plus, it's kind of hard to schedule stuff in advance when all my videos are about discussing new and emerging technologies. I really don't think I've ever realised how urgent everything I'm doing is. I assume that because it's me coming up with the ideas and choosing to make the videos, that there's no ticking clock, and that the project is current no matter how long it takes. All because I'm the one in charge of what to make and when to release it. Yet the world moves on, as do I, and it means that anything current will quickly go stale, far sooner than you'd expect it to, and that there's a moment, somewhere out in the future, where it will be thrown aside when something more pressing comes along instead, and it can be very hard to return to it again. When I named all the thousands of files in my dank memes folder the other month, it struck me just how much my sense of humour has changed, and how the memes which used to help structure jokes and to convey emotions now simply look dated and cringe. It's almost worth a video of its own, revisiting these older eras of memes, but I just know that when it's watched with modern eyes, I'll be the one judged for ever having found it funny in the first place. But returning to my videos again. If I'm the one who moves on and no longer cares enough to finish a project, why should I care anymore? It's my choice. And yet I do care, because these projects store a bit of my past self in them. When I revisit them, I'm reminded of how I was back then and all the ways in which I have since changed. If I don't do these projects, I'm losing the best bits of what I used to be, and I guess I do still appreciate them, even if it's no longer content that I choose to make, or even to watch. It's weird, I know, but it's very important to me that I preserve these older things of mine. So many of these abandoned, half-finished projects are now sat on my computer, waiting for me to decide their fate. I always hoped that it would be future Philip to be the one to make these tough decisions. But it turns out that's me right now, and me having to finally decide whether to finish a half-finished project or to scrap it completely has been very difficult. Destruction Darius 2. I hate that project. Were I younger, I'd simply scrap it and move on to my latest dream project instead. But no, it will be finished because I know it's closer to completion than it seems, and that it's actually rather good. But having the project there, looming over me, has killed any other video game dreams I've wanted to make for the best part of 7 years. How many things haven't existed because of this damn project, blocking my game-making part of my life? I hate it for that, more than how it's remained unfinished. Odd Grub. Skyrim was a much newer game when I started that series, and that one final episode that I have planned for it has been my latest and greatest mega project. It is the thing I'd like to get done before I die. Although I'm not actively working on it, it's with me when I walk to the shops, when I watch a movie in a cinema, when I go to bed at night. I excitedly think up all the amazing things that happen in this final episode, and all the truly evil things in it that are going to make viewers squirm and remember it forever. It's imagining other people seeing it that gets me excited. So that latest Odd Grubber episode that I released that nobody watched or liked, that's absolutely fine because it's all part of this plan. It'll all make sense after this last video is made. But what if it's never made? Again, I don't expect anything will physically prevent me from making this video. But what if I move on before that? What if a new Elder Scrolls game comes out before I make that video? Yeah, that's gonna happen. But what if the best video I never made remains just an unfinished pipe dream to haunt me forevermore? I said how that unfinished Splinter Cell project I don't really care about still lingers in my mind. So with that in mind, an unfinished Ogra project would haunt me forevermore. It is very important that I make it before I can't be bothered anymore.